Hi, it's Jenny from Buggy Baby, and today we're taking a look at the Swift Duo by Hauck. The Swift Duo retails at £229.95, and you can use this from birth all the way up until your child reaches 15k, which is somewhere around 3 years old. You might get a little bit more of use out of it if your child's on the smaller side. Hauck advertised this one as being a narrow double, so it is meant to fit through any door, so we'll have a look at that when we get it out of the box. It's also fairly lightweight. It weighs in only 12.3 kilos, which is pretty light for a double, so again it'll be interesting to see how that feels when we're pushing it around. So what I'm going to do is get the box open, then we're going to get everything out, we'll build the pushchair, and then we can have a look at all of the features that it has. So we're having a look at this in the black colour, and I'll open up the box so you can see how it comes. So Hauck pushchair is always well packaged in really nice sturdy boxes, and here you can see it all comes wrapped up in plastic. And what I'm going to do now is get everything out for you and lay it all out so we can see what we've got in here. So in the box we have the pushchair itself, and then we've also got these front wheels, and we have our rear wheels, and these are the included bumper bars. You also get with it a rain cover, which is really useful. It's one of the great things that Hauck do, is they always include a rain cover with their pushchairs, which is great. And here you have the pins that we're going to use to secure the rear wheels. So first things first, we need to get the rear wheels on. So before we do that, we can see here that all of our wheels are plastic wheels. So they're going to be hard wearing, there's going to be no maintenance involved. But what it does mean is that this won't be great on for off-road use. So it'll be absolutely perfect for city and town use, smooth pavements, little tiny bumps in the pavements will be fine. But if you're hoping to get a pushchair for off-road use, then really plastic tyres aren't going to be for you, and you might want to look at something that's got a rubber or a foam tyre, or even better, an air one. But like I said, they are really hard wearing. Once you've got them on, there's no maintenance involved, so you can just forget about them, which is great. So to get these wheels on, what we're going to need to do is use the included washers and pins to secure it. So you need to put it on this way round, so you can see here how we're doing it. And next up, you'll need to grab your washer and your pin. The washer's going to go on first. Now hopefully, if I can get you in the right position, you'll be able to see here that there's a little hole on this silver pole, and this is where our pin's going to go in, and this is what's securing the back wheel. Now this is a common theme with Hauck pushchairs, so this is normally how you would put the wheels on the Hauck pushchairs, and it's a little bit fiddly, but if you know what you're doing, it's not so bad. It might take a couple of attempts just because it's such a small pin, but what you just want to do is get it through that hole and secure it. So if you can see here, you've got the straight part of the pin that's going to go through the hole, and then you need to push it in, and then there you can see the wheel has locked into place. And here are the little caps that we're going to put on, and that's just going to cover this part up and keep it safe. And it does need a little bit of force to get in, because it's a very snug fit. So I've used here just a little flathead screwdriver to help push it in, maneuver it into those holes. But there we go, that's in place. Okay, so we're going to do the other rear wheel. Turn this around. Okay, so here you can see the hole on the end of this silver bar that we're attaching it to. So on goes the wheel, and then we need to pop the washer on. And then for the very fiddly part, we need to get the straight part of this pin in through these holes. Okay, so that's in now. Now that really is the hardest part about putting a Hauck pushchair together, are these little pins. Firstly is working out what you do with them, because sometimes if you don't bother reading instructions you wouldn't realise, but it is really fiddly, so you might get lucky and do it straight away. You might take a few attempts before you get it, but it will eventually go in. Next up, the cap, which is also a little bit tricky on this pushchair. So normally with other Hauck models, it's not quite as tricky as this to get them in, but this is a little bit of a funny shape and it's very snug fitting. So if you can see what I'm doing here, I'm using a screwdriver to help me push it into place. There we go. If you can see these little bars here that are clicking in and securing, I'm just pushing it in. There we go. And that's in place. So that is the rear wheels done. Now the front wheels, you'll be pleased to know, are a lot easier because they're just going to slot into place. So you slot them on. And this one down here. And they'll click into place so you know that you've got them on properly. And now we can bring the pushchair up with all its wheels on. And if we have a look here, these are locked. Let's have a look. There we go. So you can lock these front wheels. You can see they're in locked position now, which is why they're not swiveling. And just on the back here, you've got a little bit that you can twist, and that unlocks them. And then there you are. That's your front swivel wheels. So on first sight, you can see that this is a very slim line double. We can see here the seats are very slim, definitely more suitable for a smaller child, and you can see why this only goes up to 15k on each seat, because it is quite a short seat and also very slim. So that's obviously why we can't have a larger child in here. Right, but I can see straight away, first of all, it looks lovely. It looks really good quality. The seats are really nice. For a slightly cheaper double, I would say these look excellent quality, really nicely padded. Now the material, although not particularly soft to touch, is not rough in any way at all. And I wouldn't imagine that you desperately need to put a liner in there, but perhaps if you're using this for a newborn, it might be nice to put a nice soft liner in here. Okay, looking at the straps here, I can see there's two different positions available so that you can height adjust them according to the size of your child. And what I can also see on here is these two little straps are for you to thread the straps through when you've got a newborn in there. So it's just going to bring the straps down even lower still. So if we have a look at that, let's undo this. So it's a 5-point harness. And what that means is that we can detach this. Let's work out how to do that. There we go. Let's take this off. Right, so what you can do is, if you wanted to, you can bring it down to this lower setting, what you'd do with that is just unthread the strap and then thread it back through the back of the seat, and then you can pop this through this little extra strap. What we probably want to do actually before we do that is take the padding off. Okay. There we go. Right, so you thread that through. You can put your padding back on, because obviously this is going to make it more comfortable for your child. Push that through. There we are. And you can see there that what you've done is just pull the straps far enough down that it's going to sit really comfortably on your newborn. So that's a nice clever little idea there, just to make sure they're really nice and secure. Right, so let's move that back into the higher position. There we go. So it's not too fiddly, pretty quick and easy to do. Not going to cause you any aggro. I say is I can't get this back in. There we go. There we go. Okay, so there's nice padding on the straps here, really thick padding, and our clasp As I said, it's a 5-point harness, so you need to kind of get all of the bits together, slot it in. Let's work out how we did that. There we go. And of course, if you want to, you can leave these two parts clipped together at all times to make it easier for you. And it just slots into place in the clasp. It's got a nice click, so you'll know that your child's nice and secure. And we have this padding here over the bottom of the straps, also just to make sure your child is nice and comfortable. It's got an adjustable footrest, so it clicks up. This is perfect for when you have a newborn. It's just going to give them lovely support for their legs, keep them in the right position. And then as your child grows, there are two clasps on the bottom of here, which you pull in and then you can bring down. And then that's suitable for an older child so that they can dangle their legs over. Okay, so this is on the lie flat position. And it does look nice and snug, because obviously you've got all of this fabric here which is providing a nice cocoon effect for your child. It's one of the things I always like to see on any pushchairs that we're using for a newborn, that it's nice and snug for them and gives them a little bit of privacy as well if they're having a nap in there. So that looks really good. Now let's turn it around and have a look and see the recline positions. Right, so, okay. Right, so they're a strap recline, and what that's going to mean for you is that you can have the seat in any recline position of your choice. So to bring it up, we can see we're already on the lie flat, and what we're going to do with this strap, we've got this clasp here, this mechanism, and we're going to bring it up. So we're holding on to these two bits here and bringing this mechanism up, and then that will bring the seat up as high as it can go. You can see there we can go no higher. So let's do it on this one as well. So we're just going to hold on to these little clips and push it up, and there you go, that's the highest we can go. And let's spin that round so we can see the position on the highest position. Okay, so I'm going to have to adjust all the fabric slightly so it goes underneath the seat. There we are, let's do it with this one. Right, so this is the upright position. It's still on a slight recline. However, that isn't unusual for pushchairs to still be on a slight recline, even on its most up-front position. And what you can see from this, again, is how slim the seats are. So obviously, one of the seller points of this is that it's going to go through, or they say it's going to go through any doorway. So looking at it, you can definitely see that it would be quite easy to get through anything really, aisles in the shops, etc. But the trade-off for that is that you've got smaller seats, slimmer seats. So it might depend a little bit on the size of your child as to how comfortable they'll be in this, because I can see here that the seats are quite shallow. So although they're really comfortable looking and lovely and padded, there's not an awful lot of room on the actual seat part here. So I'm going to turn it around again and let's have a look and see what it looks like if we recline it midway. So really easily done. We're going to use this little mechanism, this clasp here. All you're going to do is squeeze it in, let it down, and as I said, you can choose any position you want, which is one of the really lovely things about having these straps to recline them. So we'll put that on about midway. Let's turn it round. And push that fabric in again. There we go. Okay, so you can see it's a nice comfortable recline position, and then obviously if they're napping you can bring it all the way down, so you can have one child up, one child lying down for a nap, whatever you want, whatever position you want. All the footrests work separately, so both of the children are going to be able to find a really comfortable position. Next up, let's have a look at these hoods. So they are separate hoods, which again is really handy, especially if you've got one child that wants to take a nap and another that doesn't, because you can keep one up for the non-napping child and one down for the napping child. Now, they're not the biggest hoods, and they're also, you know, sturdy enough, but they're not particularly thick hoods, but they will do the job that you need them to do. And one of the things about these hoods is that they're interchangeable, so you can actually choose different colours and you can customise your pushchair as you wish, so that's a nice little touch. Okay, let's spin it round and look at the all-important basket. See how much room we've got in here. Right, so it's a decent size. What I would say is you might want to be a little bit careful about what you put in here, because it's quite shallow, this part at the rear. It's not on the sides, nice and high on the sides, nice and high on the front, but you might just want to be a little bit careful about what you're putting in so that it doesn't slip out. So I would suggest that you put any valuables into, like your purse, your phone, etc., into a bag before you put it in this basket, because you don't want to lose anything. But it certainly is big enough for the essentials, a small nappy bag. You might be able to squeeze your coat in there. Just important to note that there normally is a weight limit on Hauck's baskets, and I believe that's somewhere around 3K for the double ones. So that's just something to bear in mind, that you don't want to overload it, because if you do that, you will be overloading the whole pushchair. Now, whilst we're down here, here is the brake. So let's have a look at how we work this. Right, so you push it down, we're locked, and then push it up and we're unlocked. Really easy to use, in a really convenient place right in the middle. So there are going to be no problems there. Right, we're going to have a look now at how we fold the pushchair down. So I can see here that the folding mechanism is on the handle, and we've got a little slider, and then we've got a button here. So what we'll have to do is move the slider across, and then we can push that button in, and that should collapse the pushchair. So let's give it a go. I'm going to see if I can do it one-handed. I always like to see when we put down the pushchairs whether it can be done one-handed, because it's useful to have. So I'm going to slide across as far as it will go, push in, there we go, and the pushchair collapses down. Okay, so it's a pretty good size for a double into its folded size, and I can see from here, if we have a look, that that's probably going to fit into most car boots, and it's not going to take up too much space if you're storing it at home, so that's really nice. Right, let's have a look at how we get it back up. So I'm going to assume that we use the same mechanism. So slide and push. What we'll need to do, because I believe it clips into place. So here, look, when we folded it down, there's a clip here which keeps the frame all together. So before we can unfold it, we need to undo that. And now, let's have a look. There we go. And then I think you're going to have to do, that's it, a little bit of a wiggle to get it back up into place. But to me, for a double, that seems pretty easy. It helps that this is quite light for a double as well, only just over 12K. So it's not too much effort, and it's not going to, you know, be too painful on your back or anything like that. So let's give it one more go. Slide it, push it in. And that's collapsed down, and then it automatically locks, and then we're gonna unlock that, slide, give it a little shake, there we go, and it's back up. So included with the pushchair are individual bumper bars, and they just slide on, I believe. So let's have a look at that. Yeah. So you would just easily slide them on, and And if you wanted to, you could wrap a little toy around there. It just gives a little bit more protection for your child when they're sitting up in the seat. And to take it off, you just press in these little black buttons and it will slide off. That's really easy. And of course, if you wanted to, you could just store them in the basket of the pushchair along with the included rain cover. I'm going to have a little feel of how it is to push around now. Now, I have used double buggies in my time, so I know that they can feel particularly heavy and quite hard to manoeuvre. So let's see how this one feels. Okay. First thing I'm noticing is the lightness of it. Also, it doesn't feel massive at all, which obviously is because it's quite slim. And it manoeuvres, let's see if we can do it with one hand. Yeah, nice and easy. Really nice to push, actually. I'm impressed with that. And the handles are covered with foam. That's going to make it nice and comfortable for you to push. The only thing when you have these foam covers is that you need to be a little bit careful to keep them in good condition because they can rip. So you just want to make sure you're looking after them. So my thoughts on this Swift Duo. It is a really good lightweight pushchair. You've seen how easy it is for us to fold it up, how easily it manoeuvres, and how easy it is to adjust the seats as well, and that you can do them individually. And I really like all of that about it. One of the other advantages to this, especially for a duo at this price point, is that the seats are really padded, and it's quite unusual to have such padded seats when it's a slightly lower price point. So that's a really good point about this pushchair, that you could put a newborn in there and they're going to be really comfortable. I mean, there's so much padding in it. The only thing I would say about it is, as I've already mentioned, they're very slim seats. So that might not be a problem for your children. It might be a problem for some other parents with their children. It really is going to depend on the size of your child and also the amount of use that you think you're going to get out of this. So if you're using it for, say, a newborn and a small toddler, maybe a 2-year-old, it's going to be perfect. If you're on the edge and you've got a 3-year-old, you might not get that much use out of this before that 3-year-old grows out of the seat. So that's really just something to think about, and your personal circumstances, what the age gap is between your children, the size of them, etc. But if they are slightly smaller, lower age group, you know, as I said, something like 2 years old, the older one, this is going to be perfect. Perhaps you only need this for a short term and you've got a child that's coming up to 3 years old, so you're not going to use it for that long. That would probably be fine as well. But of course, the benefit of having such slim seats is that this makes it a really slim double, and it's going to be particularly great manoeuvring this around town. You're going to be able to get it in and out of shops, you're going to get it round the aisles, and it's not going to pose you any problems. So as I said at the start, you can use it from birth up till 15k. Each seat takes up to 15k. You want to be careful about how much you're putting in that basket. So normally Hauck say somewhere around 3k for their baskets. So you just need to bear that in mind. With this one here, you can change the hoods around, so you can customize it to your taste, which is a really nice little extra. And the wheels, as we said at the start, are plastic wheels, which are going to mean that there's no maintenance, and you might notice they are quite small plastic wheels. So although you can get it over a few little minor bumps, it's not going to be the best if you are living in a rural area. You know, if you're out and about, going in the forest, all those sorts of things, you probably don't want something with these sorts of wheels. But for a town, which, you know, I'm assuming they're kind of targeting here because of how slim it is, they'd be absolutely perfect. And of course, it comes with bumper bars, it comes with a rain cover, you've got everything you need to get started. There's no extras that you need to purchase, which is great. So that is the Hauck Swift X Duo by Hauck. Hauck are a brilliant brand. They have great price points, really good quality, and this is a really nice one of theirs. And if you would like any more information, you can go on to buggybaby.co.uk. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments, and thank you for watching.